Fellas, the big question over the last few weeks was where will Ricochet end up? Because as we know, a lot of these WWE contracts are expiring. From what I understand, when AEW started, they signed a lot of wrestlers to these 5-year deals, and that 5 years is expiring. And Ricochet let WWE know, guys, listen, I'm out of here. And by the looks of it and what happened tonight, it looks like he wasn't telling a lie. WWE believed him. They're done negotiating, and Ricochet is gone. Kiddo, was this the right decision, or is Ricochet making a big mistake?
That's a big question. Look, first of all, I was a little bit surprised, even though we heard the news of Ricochet's contract coming up, and then he himself confirming the fact that he's gonna leave. Like, I still was kind of taken back from this with this segment because this almost pretty much 99% confirms it. Like, there's a chance he'll return to the WWE and actually, scratch returning, but sign with them again and continue with them in this run. But to me, yeah, it just looks pretty clear that he's out of there now. Is that a good decision or not? I don't know. But one more thing I want to say is that, like, it's interesting to me that they kind of did this with Chad Gable when his contract came up. It was like he had a banger segment just when his contract was coming up. Ricochet didn't have a crazy segment where he was like on top of everything, holding the title up right there. He got wrecked. Thrown right into a car. But he didn't get absolutely buried. No way. And this gives him a great opportunity to come back if he wants to and go on that revenge, storyline with Bron Breakker. And this is just something I'm not used to seeing in the WWE, especially when I look back at the Vince McMahon era. I mean, one of the biggest examples that comes to mind is how they treated Dean Ambrose, aka John Moxley. They gave him some of the weirdest spots ever.
Yep. Oh man,
Did
like the needle in the
see?
butt.
Yeah. So I'm interested in how this is gonna end up for the WWE. Will this come back to bite them in the behind in the future, or is this more positive strategy? Is it better for everybody, both the talent and the company itself? But him going to AEW, if this was Chad Gable, I think that it would have been a bad choice because I think he has so many things going on right now. One of the hottest storylines on Raw is Chad Gable versus Otis, question mark, of course. So he has something there. But Ricochet, I mean, you can take him or leave him. I think he should get out of here and evolve his game. Talk more, speak more. Also, he should go ahead and maybe, I don't know if he can do it at this point, but bulk up maybe like Will Ospreay did back in the day. Look like a bit more of a heavyweight. Maybe ask Pac for some, diet examples and kind of change up his style because he's 35 years old, which is a young age, but your body's gonna start to really cause some trouble for you, especially if Ricochet continues the ways continuing to wrestle. Which again, last thing I'll say is that he's a gymnast, right, or has a gymnast background or whatever. So he's really, stretches all the time. He's, what do you call it? Stretchable. I forget the word. So he'll not run into, flexible is the word I'm looking for. He's not gonna run into too many injuries. But yeah,
Hopefully not. I
pause
mean,
and
he's been pretty good in WWE. I don't think he's been out with any long lingering injuries, right?
no, sir, not that I
Yep, he's
know.
been pretty healthy. But I mean, you just said a whole lot there, kiddo. The Chad Gable stuff. Before I dig deep into it, I want to go ahead and talk to Omar to see what he thinks about everything going on here.
Well, there were once a very talented group of men who told me that might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby. Bye, bye, bye. And that's exactly what Triple H said to Ricochet tonight. I think it's abundantly clear for those of you who didn't watch the segment. What happened was Bron Breakker got some revenge on Ricochet because Ricochet interfered in his business earlier tonight. Wasn't a great job by Ricochet there. He should have known better. Bron Breakker broke the hell out of Ricochet's back, driving him back first into a real glass window on a car. Shout out to Jack Perry, writing him off
That
TV.
was his AEW send off. I'm sorry, but you know what? That was actually the pun there for the AEW send off. You want to go through real glass? Here you go.
There we go. Preparing him for what's next.
Yep.
Potentially. Of course, I mean, look, I think that if there's ever an effective way to write someone off of TV, this is like as close to you're gonna get. The other option, honestly, would have been to just ignore him and let his contract expire and just let it go. This, at least, you get, some interest out of it. Look, we are all interested in this. We were all interested in this, watching it live as it happened. Like, that's one of the main reasons a lot of people tune in the Raw. Is like, how are they going to write off Ricochet? What's the deal with Ricochet? What's going to happen? It was a draw. It popped maybe a few extra people watching who wouldn't have watched otherwise in the last hour. So you could say that it worked. As far as what is next for Ricochet, AEW is totally an option. I think that's the most likely option if we're talking about like what's really on the table. Personally, and I know Kenny Baum and Cara Valentine and company disagree here. Personally, from a very selfish standpoint, I would love to see Ricochet go to New Japan Pro Wrestling for two reasons. Number one, I just think there are more fresh matchups and the ability for him to be highlighted more on New Japan rather than on AEW. He can always come in, do Forbidden Door, wrestle with Will Ospreay, wrestle one-off matches. I just think when he's in AEW, he will get lost in that roster. It is just an unfortunate fact that Tony Khan and his creative team have not been able to get over. The other reason is New Japan right now is decimated as far as star power. They have Shota Umino, who is a star, but a lot of people still need to see what he's doing. People aren't as familiar with him as they were with Okada, as they were with Kenny Omega when he was there. So they need a star. I'm telling you, there is no better fit for a North American star. I love that picture, by the way. There is no better fit for a North American star in New Japan right now than Ricochet. I think he's the guy. I think he could run things in New Japan if they did things right.
I just do not see that happening, and I don't think it would be a good thing for Ricochet to move over to a New Japan. He's 35 years old. Is that old as a wrestler? No, but with his style, I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to do that. And I don't think he should go to New Japan just to be a good wrestler, just to wrestle. This man has a family, and he needs to get that money, and Tony Khan is going to pay him that money. I think he can do everything he wants to do in AEW. He can wrestle those wrestler matches. He can get paid like he should. His
He
promos
can
already
run
good.
away from the grind like everybody does in AEW.
And wrestle once a week.
Come on, AEW
That's
now.
bold.
Listen,
You all know it.
they do five nights of wrestling in one match because they go out there and they put everything on the line. In WWE, you get a few punches,
Kenny
you get
Baum
a few
have.
kicks. The guys sell for the whole match and then flip it around like John Cena has done. It's a tale as old as time. So come on, bro. They cook in AEW. And if Ricochet does, in fact, land in AEW, you're going to see his best matches he's had since he came into WWE, and that's a fact. Big Brian, what do you think about this situation tonight and everything that went on with King Ricochet?
Well,
Prince Puma.
I know you mentioned Ricochet and money with AEW. If I'm being honest, man, I don't think he's leaving WWE because of the money. I think it has everything to do with booking. So I don't know why go to AEW knowing that you will be lost in the shuffle within the next 6 to 7 months. Bro, it is true. Look at every wrestler in AEW that's came in.
MJF lost in the shuffle?
Brother, MJF is freaking.
Is Will Ospreay lost in the shuffle?
I mean, no.
Swerve Strickland lost in the shuffle?
Bro, you're naming a
Brian,
bunch
it's a tough.
No. I love Swerve. I love Swerve.
Moxley lost.
He was lost, yeah.
First half of 2023, he was lost.
But I think we have to have a middle ground here because some people, a lot of people.
How was he lost in the shuffle if he was fighting Samoa Joe?
Kenny, you're naming
in 2023.
You're naming the hottest guys on the roster right now.
Okay, he wasn't Swerve Strickland today in 2023.
Yes, but
look,
he was
man, look.
building himself up.
Here's the thing with this whole situation. Some people get lost. A lot of them do, to be honest with you. But some of them, like Swerve, like the ones you counted here, some people actually benefit. So I can't say it's exactly a bad decision because we don't know how it's gonna turn out yet.
And y'all act like people don't get lost in the shuffle in WWE.
Yeah, bro, but
Ricochet literally got lost in the shuffle in WWE.
Andrade.
Yeah, I mean, listen, bro. Listen, it happens in WWE. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying that if we're talking about money, he's not. I don't think he's leaving because of money. I think he's leaving because of booking. So if you want to be booked correctly, AEW is not the place for you.
Yeah, bro.
So New Japan.
Strickland was rapping in WWF, doing the black guy WWE. Whoa. He was doing the black guy gimmick in WWE. He's a world champion in AEW. Come on, bro.
Who's a world champion in AEW?
Swerve Strickland is the world champion in AEW.
I thought you were talking about Ricochet.
What he was
like,
doing
bro,
in
WWE.
WWE.
Straight to the beef right now, dog. You know he's not no champion in AEW.
I mean, he could be. He could be. If him and Will Ospreay go out there and put on these banger matches, I mean, it's possible.
But I will say, what I will say, guys, just real quick, is the other part. Like, I mean, look. We also have to take into account, like, for me, I'm also taking into account at least what's best for like the overall landscape of wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think having Ricochet in New Japan would offer AEW the ability to highlight him whenever he wants, whenever they want, without making him kind of an AEW guy. Because the issue is when you are signed, sealed, and delivered, and you're the AEW guy. If you go over and do like an excursion in New Japan, it's gonna be seen as less than. Always. And people like the four of us are going to be talking about it on a show like, damn, why they sending Ricochet to New Japan? He's just not good enough. Like, that's going to be the narrative. And the way you combat that,
John Moxley is the champion of New Japan right now. Nobody's saying
and there are a bunch of, and I'm not saying any of us here, but there are a bunch of creators who are dogging like, why is he going to a lesser company? It's the truth. Like, that's the narrative that's out there.
I mean, it's fair.
Yeah, and look, right there.
That's why Ricochet should not sign with New Japan. I mean, that's
and give me, and aside from matches with Will Ospreay, what is the reason why Ricochet should sign with AEW?
Because this is where he can shine. We look at the style they wrestle in AEW. That's what Ricochet was doing before he signed to WWE. So WWE was never a good fit for him. But I mean, again, WWE is kind of heavily promo based. Ricochet can go out there and cut a promo, which he is fine at right now. Go have a banger match, and that's going to send him through the roof.
Or get him injured.
Just like Kevin Owens. WWE cooked Kevin Owens because he was the best wrestler they had on his roster. They watered him down, and now he's just nobody. So it is what it is.
2025.